morning, students. Today's lecture is for MA previous year students, paper 1. The topic is Culture and Anarchy by Matthew Arnold, published in the year 1869 in the form of a book, which consists of 6 chapters. So the names of the chapters are: number 1, Sweetness and Light; number 2, Doing as One Likes; number 3, Barbarians, Philistines and Populace; number 4, Hebraism and Hellenism; number 5, But One Thing is Needful; and number 6, Our Liberal Practitioners. So we are going to discuss a little bit about culture and anarchy. What is the meaning of culture and what does anarchy stands for, as per the views of Matthew Arnold, a Victorian poet, critic and essayist. Now, culture is a wide embracing word which covers the whole way of life of an individual. It consists basically of the manners, the way one behaves, the polite behavior, the graceful manner in which a person behaves, all comes under the preview of culture. It means a many-sided development and a complete and a harmonious perfection of man. It makes a person move towards perfection if we follow culture. Now, Arnold's most important work of social criticism, which is Culture and Anarchy, it is actually a plea, a request for culture as a remedy for all the evils of his age. Which age? Victorian age, where Arnold was very disgusted and depressed by seeing the degradation of his times resulting from the Industrial Revolution, and he was determined to bring a change in it. So that's why he introduced the term culture, which is again defined as a pursuit of total perfection by means of getting to know on all matters which most concern us. Means in culture we have to know about everything going on around us, and what has to be known, the best that has been thought and said. How would we know the best that has been thought and said? We can imitate or see or get inspirations from our Greek masters of the past, making them ideal, and thus know what is actually the best and what is actually the best that has been ever thought and said in the world. So according to him, we have to follow it. And through this knowledge, we should have fresh ideas in our mind, free thought in our mind, so that we can come out of the stock notions and habits that we have formulated from years, and we have been following very staunchly and mechanically. Okay, so this is culture. Now, what will be the result of following this culture? Matthew Arnold says if we follow culture in this way, or the pursuit of culture, by following the best knowledge that is available in the world and propagating it, we will get sweetness and light. We will come to know about sweetness and light. These are the two terms introduced by Matthew Arnold. Now, what is sweetness? Sweetness is, it can be a synonym to politeness, graceful manners, clear, that we have to follow. And what is light? Light means knowledge and ideas. Light means knowledge and ideas. From where these words has been taken? From Jonathan Swift's book, Battle of Books, from which these two words, sweetness and light, has been taken by Matthew Arnold. Now next point is what Matthew Arnold says. He says that there are 3 categories of people in our civilization or the society, in the British society. What are these 3 categories? Number 1, they are the aristocracy or the barbarians. Clear? Number 2, middle class or the Philistines. And number 3, the working class or the populace. Now, these 3 categories, do they have sweetness and light in them? Okay, this Matthew Arnold tells you. Now, the barbarians or the aristocratic people, he calls them, are very materialistic or materialized, whereas the Philistines are vulgarized and the populace are the brutalized people. Clear? But none of these class has sweetness and light. If any class has a little bit of sweetness in them, they are the aristocrats or the barbarians. Clear? They have a bit of sweetness in them, which is manifested in the form of superficial gifts and graces, their politeness and their good manners. But they have no light. Light means knowledge or ideas. The Philistines, the second category of people, have neither sweetness nor light, but they are the most influential people of the society. Okay, they constitute a major portion of the society. They are the backbone of the society. So what is the need of the times? We are talking about the Victorian age. The need of the time was to bring a reform in the society by teaching this category, the Philistines, about culture. Okay, because the power was now being power was being passed from the aristocrats to this second category, the Philistines, who will now take over the major working of the population, people or the society. Now what happens? These people we are talking about the Philistines or the middle class people. These people, they had many virtues. Their religion was a precious heritage from the Hebrews. Hebrews means those who insisted on right conduct and followed the rules and regulations of the Bible. But the fault or the weak point was that Hebraism was a too strict kind of code of conduct was there in Hebraism. So it needed to be counterbalanced or liberalized by Hellenism. Now what is Hellenism? Hellenism is the Greek thirst for knowledge, for ideas, for beauty, to bring sweetness and light. So we can say, thus a harmonious perfection of man which culture aims at can be achieved through a counterbalance of Hebraism and Hellenism, which Philistines had to practice to bring a change in the society, basically in the Philistines, which are going to take power now. Okay. Now Matthew Arnold talks in detail about anarchy. What does he say? He says that he had no sympathy with the English passion for false ideas of liberty. For English passion for false ideas of liberty. The anarchy that was there in the England of his time, he regarded was the result of the thinking that English thought that people should do as they like. Means the freedom to do what one likes had brought anarchy in the world or chaos in the world. In the world, basically in England we are talking about. This, however, does not mean that Arnold was saying that there should be an absolute state of dictatorship in the country. He is saying that there should be democracy, but it should be controlled. He only meant about a controlled democracy. Please remember this. He didn't say in favor of dictatorship. Neither he said that there should be a right for every person to do as one likes, because that will bring chaos in the society. He said the controlled democracy is answer for the betterment of the civilization as a whole. Now, what does it mean? A government with more central powers of regulating and controlling the social economic affairs of the country. There should be a government that would ensure that no party advances its own separate interests at the cost of the community as a whole. So this views of Matthew Arnold, which he advocated as a reform for the society, or we can say as social criticism or a political criticism, was only meant to bring a change in the society so that the people who were becoming rich, the rich were becoming rich and richer, and the poorer could be maintained or controlled to some extent. So in this way we have completed, I've tried to figure out a few things about culture and anarchy, which is there in your course, and you have to remember the important points like what is culture, what is anarchy, as told by Matthew Arnold, how the chapter is divided into 6 parts, and what is the meaning of Hebraism, what is Hellenism, and what is sweetness, and what is light, and how can according to Matthew Arnold's view, there can be a change in the society, bring a change in the society by reforming the society, by bringing culture in the society, and by abandoning the anarchy, the conditions of anarchy in the England, which were which had come because of the degradation caused by the Industrial Revolution during those times. So for today, thank you very much. Take care, stay safe. Thank you.